Greetings, good people. All right, so hopefully everyone saw part 2 of Real Housewives of Atlanta's reunion, okay? This reunion was a mess. And one specific reason it was a mess is because of this Courtney, Ralph, and Drew storyline. And we can't forget sister Allison. All right, Ralph is disrespectful. Drew is a little bit naive, but there's a part of me, there's a small part of me, guys, that thinks that this is all BS. What do I mean by that? I think there's a small part of me that thinks that Ralph and Drew have concocted this story and they're acting out this script that they created to remain on Housewives of Atlanta. Now, listen, it wouldn't be the first time that a storyline was concocted, okay? But for the sake of this video, let's say that it is not an act and this is really how their relationship is. Do you guys remember when we were first introduced to Ralph and Drew? The very first introduction consisted of Ralph going to Tampa, turning off his phone, Drew's mama being in the house and being very, very involved in their marriage because she's a pastor. So I guess she called herself counseling them. We saw this dysfunction from the very first time that they appeared on Housewives of Atlanta, right? So I'm actually not surprised at the turn of events that they're filing for divorce and all of this disrespect is continuing. We saw this from the very beginning with these two. No, I do think Ralph doesn't care. He really gives me very much, Drew's not gonna leave me anyway, even though I wish she would. So it is what it is. I'm tired of her and her mama. I don't want to adopt her son. She is a drama queen and a liar, and I don't want to be bothered. That's what I get from Ralph. From Drew, it's my man, my man, my man. I gave him 30 years of my life. Or no, I gave him my 30s, my entire 30s. I've put in so much work. I've dealt with so much. You ain't gonna leave me. Very typical. And, you know, it's oftentimes said that the man should lead. And some of you women, I swear, you will follow these men right to hell, waving your wedding ring, talking about my man, my man, my man. Okay? If this is not all an act, I just want to know, what is it that you are getting out of this marriage that is keeping you here? I don't understand. Okay. Then for whatever reason, this Courtney broad was introduced. Whoever's decision it was for Courtney to come on the show is extremely shady and doesn't give a F about Drew or her marriage or her family. Right. I'm not here for Courtney. I know I saw some people commenting on social media stating that Courtney is good for the show. She brings the drama. Absolutely not. Ralph and Drew's children have nothing to do with Courtney, and it's best that she keep the children's name out her mouth. I do think that Ralph is feeding her information, and I do think that he is doing so to get back at Drew because he's pissed off with her. Ralph can act oblivious all he wants. He knows exactly what he is doing, okay? This was one scene where Courtney was excited to see Ralph. He was backstage getting his hair cut, getting his lip gloss put on and all that good stuff. And Courtney went into his dressing room and greeted him very friendly. And Allison just so happened to be walking past. And it appeared that Courtney was going to close the door. And Allison told her, "You bet not close that door on me," and proceeded to check her. Now, I did notice Ralph's face. He looked like he didn't want no parts of Allison whatsoever, because Allison looks like she's ready to buck if you nuck, okay? And I'm not mad about it. I did see commentary where people kind of wanted Allison to join the show to get a peach. Let's slow down a little bit, okay? We last time we just threw out peaches. You see what happened. Case in point, Marlo. No shade to Marlo, but Marlo could have done without a peach. She could have stayed the friend of the show, but whatever, okay? But back to this Courtney girl. I do think that she should go before she gets hurt. I'm not feeling her whatsoever. I don't understand her purpose. And again, it just proves that Ralph doesn't like Drew. He's disrespectful. Now, there were talks about Ty, who is the ex-girlfriend of Mimi, who is from Love and Hip Hop Atlanta. Candy and some of the other girls said that Drew's assistant was running his mouth and saying things about Ty and Drew's relationship. So what? So what? Drew, you really dropped the ball on this reunion, okay? If this storyline is not fake, you really let Ralph play you, girl, if this storyline is not fake. Because, again, there's a part of me that I think that both of them are acting. Anyway, Ralph sat there trying to be so quiet and so serious and level headed. He called Drew an actress. He was stumbling over his stories when he was asked questions. Very immature. Ralph could have been backstage and Andy could have been interviewing him separately from and not put him on the couch, to be honest with you. It would have served a better purpose. I did not like seeing Drew being embarrassed like that. But then again, Drew, it's like, you know this man. Like you said, you've been dealing with this since before you guys got on the show. And for whatever reason, you thought that exploiting your marriage for capital gain wouldn't end in divorce. Maybe they wanted to get a divorce. And maybe they said, listen, we might as well get paid to go out with a bang. I don't know. There's a part of me, y'all, I believe this is a contrived story between these two. But again, let's pretend that it's not. And then Drew decides to sing a snippet of her new single, and then she's singing to Ralph as if he should care. I'm going to tell you something. I laughed too. Okay, I know some of the girls were snickering and giggling. I laughed too. It was so bad. Ralph is really the actor here because he kept his composure. He didn't make too many facial expressions. His body language looked like he was full of bleep. Drew, you really singing to this man, you begging this man to stay. At this point, what exactly are you attracted to? Is it just because you guys have been together for umpteen years and you're afraid to start over? I don't get it. I absolutely don't get it. Like, why do you want someone who doesn't want you? Is that the type of relationships that we're promoting these days? I don't get it. Ralph has been very disrespectful. He doesn't take up for Drew whatsoever, and he treats her that way because he knows that she's not going to leave. So they filed for divorce, and we shall see if they go through with the divorce. And I know Marlo said that she's rooting for them to stay together and she wants them to be a happy family, but they're not happy. And you want her children growing up to see their father disrespecting their mother and their mother being in shambles. I don't, what's the benefit for the kids? The kids are probably hoping and wishing that you two would go your separate ways so that they can have some peace. They still reside in the same home, but one sleeps on one side of the house and the other one sleeps on the other side of the house. Drew said that she ain't tell the kids that they filed for divorce. If them kids got an iPad, laptop, smartphone, they probably already know. They probably already know. I don't get it. This relationship absolutely makes no sense. I would never wish for anyone to stay in a relationship of any kind where they're being disrespected and humiliated and not being protected and being abused, verbally or otherwise. I would never say, oh, you guys should work it out. You guys should work it out for the sake of your family. What family? They're both toxic, and Ralph cannot stand Drew. He can't stand her. It's obvious, no? Listen, I don't need to go into detail. You guys saw the reunion. There's not much else to say. Drew, listen, at this point, if you stay thinking that he is going to change, then you already know what you're in for. A part of me feels that if Ralph was to say, let's give this another shot, Drew would be all for it. Girl, I would have been singing that song, acting like I'm singing to Ty or some imaginary man or woman. I would not be stunting Ralph whatsoever. That's why, again, a part of me thinks that this is a contrived story. Well, Drew did one thing right. She checked Courtney's disrespectful behind, okay, and she looked good doing so. And maybe this secured her a seat for next season. I'm going to be honest, I can do without Real Housewives of Atlanta for a while. I think they need to figure out what it is that they're going to do. There's all this talk about them recasting everyone, maybe keeping one or two people and hiring some new women. I don't believe any of that. There's always rumors that circulate so that to drum up, attention and engagement for the next season. I wouldn't be surprised if all of these households come back next season. First of all, shout out, no, before I go, hold on. Sheree and her She by Sheree Gazette, Larry us. I know a lot of y'all don't see it for Sheree, but I was extremely entertained by Sheree's shenanigans. Okay, now foolishness, I'm not for. Okay, and Courtney is nothing but foolishness, and I think that she should go. All right, but shenanigans, I'm all for it. So Drew also caught the attention of Tamar Braxton, who stated that she wanted Drew to go on tour with her because Tamar is celebrating the 10th year anniversary of her album or her song, or her album, whatever. Anyway, and I don't think it's a good idea. Personally, I think Tamar is full of drama. I think Tamar always has an ulterior motive. Tamar is a liar, and Tamar is extremely and painfully immature. Okay, I think Drew being on this show on the Bravo platform, or being a part of the Bravo family, is more than enough exposure for her to get booked for shows on her own. So I know it looks like, oh, Tamar is extending a hand and helping Drew out. Tamar usually is the opening act for others. So Drew opening up for Tamar, just to me, seems a little bit eh. And I also think that Tamar is trying to kind of get comfortable with a housewife or two because she wants to be on Housewives of Atlanta. For years now, there has been talks and rumors that Tamar should or could join the cast. The moment that Tamar Braxton joins Housewives of Atlanta will be the absolute, positively very last time that I watch that franchise. I absolutely don't think that Bravo is that desperate. And I don't think that Tamar would be a good fit for the show unless they are trying to get rid of Kandi, which I think they are. I think little by little they're trying to phase Kandi out because they don't want to increase her pay, because they're going to have to pay her more if she comes on for another season. So why not cut Kandi and pay some new housewives significantly less, trim the fat off the top basically. But I don't want to see Tamar on Housewives of Atlanta. Absolutely, positively not. And I hope, for Drew's sake, that no drama ensues on this little mini tour that she is going on with Tamar. Drew, if you're serious about your music, keep working on your music. Keep doing interviews. Keep promoting yourself and your music. And I think you will do perfectly fine because she can sing. She's talented. So show off your talent and promote yourself. Bravo is a huge platform. Use that as a springboard to spring yourself into the music industry and to be taken a lot more seriously. It's possible you don't necessarily need help from somebody who has a not so nice reputation as it pertains to some of these media outlets and companies. But you're going to do what you want to do, and I wish you nothing but the best. So what do you guys think? Drop down in the comments and share your thoughts. Are you here for Courtney returning for another season? I'm not. What about you? All right, y'all, that's all I got and got no more. Talk to you later.